Alright guys, MattG here back again today. Hope you're enjoying your day so far. Today we're going to talk about the Paris Legion and the shambles that is going on right now at that organisation. As Cronus CDL Intel pointed out last night, a lot of stuff has happened over the last few days in the Rostermania side of things. Hydra was their main target. This young, potentially generational French talent onto that Paris Legion squad makes a lot of sense. And now it looks like he'll be going to the New York subliners alongside Clayster, Mac and Zuma. That leaves Paris in a very difficult situation indeed. Who do they sign up? How do they even maintain a French majority roster if they want to? And if they don't decide to go down that route, which free agents should they potentially look at picking up? Because there's a lot of good ones on the market right now, so it seems pretty difficult for Paris Legion to form a tragic roster, but that may well be the case as we'll look at over the coming minutes here. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It helps out the YouTube algorithm a lot. Thank you for doing that very much indeed. Before we get into things, Hitch a Ride tournament going on today. Black Ops 4, 4 versus 4 variant, no specialists. Some of these teams are absolutely filthy, by the way. I just thought I'd bring this up on the big screen. You've got, well, Team 1 and Team 11 were the teams that caught my eye. RCT, Simp, Abizi, Bristini. Then you've got Illy, Hug, Shotzi, and Dashy as squad 11. So that's going to be a scary one. But yeah, this should be a lot of fun. And I thought I'd mention this as well for poor God RX, man. Like his difficult off-season continues. As he says right here, was just about to tweet out about playing in Hitch's Black Ops 4 throwback, but I guess I have been replaced. And I apparently got replaced from Silly, an Assaults team, as you can see up here. So God RX no longer on this squad. Not exactly sure who's going to be replacing him. Slasher says this Rostermania period is very interesting, weird, confusing, all at the same time. I have no idea really what's going on with OGLA right now. Seems like TJ will be staying after all, alongside Slasher and Kenny, but the fourth is very much up in the air as it stands right now. We get this as well from Pristini, I need a vacation or something. RSD says come through to Atlanta. What about Seattle? Seattle is nice, and we literally grew up there, stop reaching. You get this one as well, though, spare sub spot going on. So yeah, difficult one for Pristini right now. I'm not exactly sure what's going to be going on with him. The rumoured Seattle lineup that he was meant to be on, Gunless, Octane, Pristini and Looney, seems to have fallen through, but you know, who knows what happens over the coming days. There's no clear deadline, I believe, that's been announced as to when these teams have to actually decide and finalise their rosters, but yeah, a lot of announcements, I believe, will be following over the coming weeks, especially, as I said, Hydra to New York Subliners is looking more and more likely by the day. I imagine they'll have content for that, if that does in fact get confirmed over the coming weeks or so, and I'm sure other team announcements to follow. This from Tommy as well, legendary European player, did a lot of good things on the Warzone side last season, was a substitute on the Dallas Empire. 0 franchise offers starting or sub, still looking to compete, but it's looking like we may be in the challengers pit for this year. And could Tommy be a target for someone like the Paris Legion? That's not out of the question. Here's what Cronut CDL Intel has to say yesterday. Paris Legion are completely lost and have no idea what they are doing. So pretty big indictment, and well, a lot of the stuff that I've heard behind the scenes is well, indicative of exactly what Crone is saying. Official statement: we want to thank all of these fantastic players who fought until the last second of the season with pride. We wish them the best in the future. So not long ago they released their entire squad, right? So Brezzy, of course, French talent on the Enigma 6 squad throughout the Black Ops 4 season. I believe they came top 4 at the World Championships. They released him, they released all the Australian guys, Zed, of course. Everyone is gone, with the intention of signing back some of these guys at the bare minimum salary. The minimum salary is $50,900. I believe that Paris are not looking to spend a penny more than that if they can for getting some of these players back. However, they were willing to pay a pretty penny to get Hydra onto the team. However, you know, it looks like Clayster might have stolen that opportunity away from them onto the New York subliners, which is pretty tragic for Paris. Like, you've got a guy like Hydra throughout the amateur scene, throughout the entirety of the Modern Warfare amateur scene, clearly a very solid player. Paris probably had the opportunity to pick this guy up a while ago, mid-season, like a lot of teams have done. Like, they picked up amateur players mid-season onto their sub-bench or whatever. I'm sure Paris would have had similar opportunities to get Hydra in as a substitute and then have some sort of situation where he can still play on Train Hard Esports in the Challenger side or something like that, but just get him on the books, right? So you don't have to worry about a guy like Clayster coming in and sweeping him from under your grass, because that's a pretty tragic situation. So it all kind of went a little bit weird a few days ago when B-Sport Josh confirmed that he's no longer coaching the Paris Legion. After a year away from competing, it made me realize how much I missed it. This is just kind of interesting. I'm not exactly sure if there's anything to this, but I found it strange that a guy like Josh, if he did have a guaranteed coaching spot, would just decide to go and compete. So maybe Paris Legion were looking to cut down on the staffing or something like that. Who really knows? But yeah, anyway, B-Sport Josh goes into, you know, trying to compete again through the Challenger side, and Paris Legion now lose a great asset, I suppose, in Josh, who probably knows a thing or two about how to build a good team. And well, doesn't seem to be the case with the rest of the guys on this Paris Legion organization as it stands right now. This then is what the Paris Legion rumored roster looks like. like. So Pred, Zed, Hydra, and Dens was the roster about a week or so ago, but Hydra, it looks like now more and more likely, is going to be going to the subliners. Ferro will be staying on the Florida Mutineers. So that leaves Paris without their like main talisman that they wanted to build around on the squad. So Pred, Zed, and Dens are the other guys they were considering. So Zed from the UK, Dens and Pred from Australia. Pred really like a similar up-and-coming amateur player to what Hydra was in the French region in the previous season. Probably one of the most, if not the most promising player from the Australian region last season through the amateur side. So it makes sense that they want to get these guys onto the team. I like the Pred acquisition, but then again, I think Paris are definitely thinking about the idea of this like French, well, French connection, I suppose, in this organization, right? Last season, they didn't have a French player on the squad. They had Brezzy on the bench, and it was just weird why they didn't even start him initially, and maybe they'll try and get him back. That's what the situation looks like right now, because Paris Legion seem to want to build like a French majority roster, if not like at least have a couple of French guys on this team, and that can definitely work, right? But now you're losing Hydra, all of a sudden you're in a very difficult spot with, you know, figuring out who your SMGs are going to be, and if Paris do want to build this, well, some French talent on the team, who do they get to round out the rest of the roster, right? So this is a big question right now. If Hydra is gone, as it looks like he is, Pred, I imagine you want to keep as the amateur player, but then again, you probably want to have some French talent. I think that's what the management is thinking at the Paris Legion, but you know, it may not work out for the best. So Brezzy, I believe they're looking to re-sign. That could make a lot of sense, right? And I think Whalers as well, who was on the Train Hard Esports squad with Hydra. He's been a player that's been around for a number of years, been in the league with Vitality, I believe, you know, a few years ago in the World War II days, maybe even before that. So, yeah, I think with Hydra gone, Whalers and Brezzy are on the radar, but then who do you fill out the rest of your squad with, right? Like, you know, Whalers would technically be the main assault rifle, so maybe you don't need Dens, but maybe you get one of them as a substitute. Maybe you keep Pred as like your aggressive SMG, and then you need one more guy. Maybe you have Zed on the team. It's just a bit of a disaster, right? Because that team on paper, like, let's just put that together. Whalers, Brezzy, like Pred and Zed, I guess. Like, I don't know if that's really going to work out, to be honest. And the Paris Legion have so much potential, like, talent on the table right now. There's so many players that want to play in the league, which they could acquire if they don't want to go down this French majority route, which does, it really is a big question mark to me, because last season was the perfect opportunity to do it, I suppose. You had Brezzy in there, you decided not to start him, and now all of a sudden you're thinking, well, okay, we kind of want to represent Paris in this sense, but you know, squandered the opportunity to get Hydra sometime last season, and now he's gone to the New York Subliners, and now you're in an absolute disaster of a situation. So I don't really know what the Paris Legion are going to do. There's a number of players out here that want to play on this squad. I've heard that Paris Legion, in addition to considering Whalers and Brezzy, are considering some guys from the European amateur scene, which, like, it's not like I've never heard of them, but they're not like high-tier amateur players by any means. Given the free agents that are on the market right now, like, come on, like, get Brezzy, get Whalers or something if you want to build that French core, and Hydra is gone, but at least get a couple of, like, players that are out there in the free agency market right now that are proven to be competitive at a high level, and actually put together a squad that may have a chance of winning. Because as it stands right now, the team they are trying to put together for the Pro League next season is going to get absolutely railed, I've no doubt about it. And well, here are some of the replies. Parasite comes in. Bonjour, my name is Chris, and Parasite Legion has a nice ring to it. Parasite. You know, sign me and I'll build a competitive top tier team of passionate players with the hunger to succeed. I know Call of Duty and this community better than anyone. Au revoir, Paris Legion. So yeah, pretty funny from Haggy. We get this from Blast as well. I'd play for free and have Paris gear on until I'm 6 feet under. Let me know at Paris Legion. Similar thing from Waskin here. Signed me and my bro up free of charge. Not asking for any dollars. I just got something to prove. We could be a nasty trio, says Parasite. And as MattG says, we've come to a point where players would pay the orgs to compete. Crazy times. And well, this is bang on the money, right? Like, Paris can get away with lowballing their players and not really paying them much, because there's so many guys in the free agency space right now which would want to play for these guys effectively for no money at all. And well, Parasite is one of these examples, right? Like, the opportunity, of course he wants the money, like, what's the minimum salary? $50,900, like a minimum for any professional league player. But at the same time, these guys would take pretty much any opportunity to compete in the Pro League and definitely have the hunger and desire to win, right? So it's intriguing to me. Like, Parasite may not be the ideal candidate for a number of reasons, but Parasite makes sense. Like, if I'm the Paris management, to be honest, Parasite is a guy I'm considering, because there's no doubt this guy has a big brand behind him. He has a big stream following. People would definitely already be, like, interested and excited about this team if they have Parasite on the squad. And yes, that means maybe you can't have Whalers and something, but, you know, maybe you just get one French guy. Like, if it were me, I'd probably just get Brezzy and just have him as a starter. He's definitely a talented player. You don't necessarily need to build a majority roster. You just need one guy on the team that the French guys can get behind, and you don't have Hydra, so okay, just get Brezzy and fill out the rest of the squad with actually, like, proven solid players, maybe with a bit of branding behind them as well, because Paris Legion, with the exception of maybe the Los Angeles Guerrillas, were probably the most boring team throughout the Modern Warfare season. Like, I didn't really care for this team that much. I liked the players on the team. They didn't really have much going on in terms of branding and in terms of personality. You know, especially the organization's Twitter account and stuff didn't have much personality going on at all. So if you pick up players like Parasite, who all of a sudden add that element of, you know, they add the fan base behind them, and people are going to be talking about Paris Legion because Parasite's on the team. I mean, imagine you went for Parasite, you got like Doug Sensor Martin on the squad. All of a sudden, your team has some brand and some personality. I'm not saying it's going to win, but it's probably not going to win regardless, given the situation we're looking at right now, and not paying a lot of money to get good players on the squad. So, you know, Parasite could legitimately be an option. Then again, you've got to think about the twins, right? You've got to think about Waskin and Scraps, and there are so many free agents available right now that I don't see why Paris are trying to go down this route of getting these amateur guys that are incredibly unproven. I'm down for Pred, by the way. Pred's a fantastic talent. I'm talking about some of the other guys in like the deep depths, I suppose, of the European amateur scene that they've been looking at. When there's guys like this on the table, right? You've got like Temp, Scraps, Blast, Aqua, Classic, Brack, Lucky, Rated, Waskin, Morks, Chino, and Denz as your main ARs. I mean, those are plenty of options there. Like, you know, you get Waskin and Scraps in as your kind of duo, Brezzy in there, and then like a fast-paced SMG. Maybe you get Pred, maybe you keep Zed, something like that. That could work. I mean, SMG players, there's plenty of them out there as well. And, you know, Zed I would like for them to keep. I think he can be a good asset to a team. So, yeah, very intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below on this one. Seems like Paris really don't know what they're doing. They want to keep some French majority on the squad, or at least like 2 French players. But the problem is you keep those 2 guys. How many free agents are really willing to play with them? I mean, you kind of need some SMGs on the point if you've got Whalers on your squad already, potentially as your main assault rifle. So I don't know what direction these guys are going to go. But like, the fact they lost Hydra is a tragedy. And now they've really got to consider their options from here. Because if it were me, I would get 1 French player on the team and get some players on the squad which actually have some branding and actually have some interest and actually have some, well, people behind them, I suppose, to build up your brand to something respectable. Then maybe you can even compete, in addition to having a squad which people are actually talking about and engaging with on social media. Because for teams like Paris Legion, that should definitely be a priority for me right now. You know you're realistically not going to be competing for championships given the other teams that are being formed already in the CDL this year. Like, if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.